Okay, if we could all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to Grand Blanc Township Board meeting for Monday, August 4th. Clerk Robertson, will you please call the roll?
I would be happy to call the roll. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Myself, I'm here, of course. Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Fike?
Here.
Trustee Hugo?
Here.
Trustee White? Here. 7 members present, a quorum.
Thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Joel Fike.
Motion
supported
by Fike
by Treasurer Yancho.
and supported by Yancho. Trustee White?
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
7-0. Motion passes.
Okay, and now we will open the microphone for any public comment. If anybody chooses to address the board. Seeing no public comment, we will bring it back to the board, and I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda at this time. Motion by Mr. Brown, supported by Mr. Fike.
Okay. Motion by Brown, supported by Fike on the consent agenda. Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
7-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Under old business, one of the things that we talked about was with regard to our strategic plan at the last meeting and making committee assignments. I've spoken with all of our board members here and have asked them to serve on the various committees. I'll just run through them real quick. You know which ones I've spoken with you about. But for regarding senior services and our senior center, Mr. Fike and Mr. Yancho, I've asked them to serve on that. And keep in mind, we probably will rotate these around during the course of the next several years, just so that everybody gets to participate in some of these. Parks and Recreation, I've asked Ms. Hugo and Mr. Brown to participate in that committee. With regard to the 911 services and 911 consortium, I've asked Mr. Paul White and Dave Robertson to be on that committee. Also with regard to the Ascension Henry Ford property and development of that area, I've asked Dave to serve on that with me on that committee. With regard to the Genesee County Road Commission and making sure that we're getting our fair share, I've asked Mr. Paul White and Ms. Hugo if you could serve on that as well. Mm-hmm. Also, Mr. Damon Brown has, Trustee Brown has volunteered to serve on the McFarland Library Board as our board representative. So we'll be in touch with the McFarland Library Board and let them know that Mr. Brown will be serving in that capacity. So I know there's a few of you that would like to serve on more committees. One of the things that we have to be cognizant of, if we have 3 board members, we don't necessarily have to notify the public and schedule it and that kind of thing. We get beyond 3, we've got to do that. So anyways, we'll make sure that we get the input of all our board members as we decide to take action in these different areas. But at least this helps us delve into issues a little bit deeper with our board. Mr. Limita, anything to add with that?
No, I think it's a great first step, and I think as you guys go on, the board will determine, what kind of information you guys are trying to get out and what you're trying to bring back to help make decisions. And again, I think the biggest thing that came out of your strategic planning sessions was that you guys want to be able to advocate for Grand Blanc Township on a much bigger level, especially throughout the county, and this is going to help that happen. So it's exciting to see where this goes.
Yep. I think one of the things that we spoke about, Mr. Limito, was I think what we'll do is set up some meetings for these various committees and probably get the appropriate department heads involved so that we can have a discussion with them and make sure we're all on the same page in terms of what we're aiming towards accomplishing. And these committees, really, we're looking, I know some of them, we may have a little bit of an adversarial relationship just because we don't feel that we're getting our fair shake at the county level for example, senior millage. I know we had a couple of board members, Treasurer Yancho and Trustee Fike attended a meeting today. But we want to be, we're looking to work together with these county agencies to make things happen too. So we want to promote transparency. We want to make sure that our position is known in the county of where we stand on various entities here. Any questions from any board members or concerns? And we'll have Mr. Yancho and Mr. Fike kind of talk about their meeting here when we get towards the end of the meeting. Okay, we will be scheduling some meetings then, and we can report back to the board as we have those meetings. Under new business, item A, the board will consider adopting Consumers Energy Resolution 25-21 to add 2 additional street lights on Dort Highway between Parker Pass and Edwards Street for the cost of $460 and authorize the Township Supervisor to execute all related contracts and documents. Good evening.
Good evening. These are lights that somehow got lost in the design of adding to Dora Highway. Our streetlight representative from Consumers, we discovered that. So this will add one at that north entrance we talked about. That's dark going into Walmart, and I think the next one up.
Yes.
So it'll fill in the gap. So we'll finally have light there, and they can move on that pretty quickly. As the southern half, it is under Eagle review, but it's at Eagle. Like we said, it takes like 8 months for Consumers to move that stuff to Eagle. So it is getting reviewed, and hopefully we can have the rest of the lights finally in all the way down the Grand Blanc Road here.
Before the snow flies, hopefully.
So,
Okay. Very good.
For the public and anybody else who didn't realize, there's an issue, not necessarily where the poles are going to go, but trying to get those poles to where they need to be, and the electricity runs through some designated wetlands. So Eagle, state agency that regulates what can happen in those areas, is reviewing the plan with Consumers Energy, and that's what kind of the issue is in the delay.
Absolutely.
So thanks for helping work through that,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Boggs. Okay, any questions on the streetlights? I know the residents in National Estates across from Walmart will be appreciative because it is very dark at that intersection into their neighborhood. Ultimately, we'd like to have a left turn lane all the way from the Walmart entrance going north up to Maple Road, but the road also needs paving very, very badly by MDOT, so hopefully that'll happen too. So if I see no questions, Ms. Hugo's making the motion,
And I'll,
supported by Mr. White.
Hugo, motion on item 7A, supported by White. Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
7-0. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boggs. Item B, the board will consider a motion to accept an offer of a property donation from Oak Creek Office Park LLC, commonly known as vacant South Saginaw Street, parcel ID 12-26-400-020. And representative of the property contacted us a few months back and said, hey, we've got some property that we would like to donate, and Mr. Lehman and I talked about it, and it looks like it could be very useful to us in the future. So, Mr. Lehman?
Yeah, Jim McGurk, the representative from the Oak Creek Office Park, had reached out to Supervisor Bennett. Like you said, it's probably been about 4 months or maybe more. It takes a while to get through all the environmentals and the legalities with our law firm to make sure that we were represented well. But they have had that property for sales in an office space area on Saginaw, butts up to the Warwick Hills subdivision, not far from Trustee Brown's house. I think it may be a parcel or two over where it butts up, but it's a nice 7-acre piece of property. He reached out to see, they've had it for sale, and it hasn't moved, and he thought it'd be a great opportunity for the township potentially to take a look at it for future use. There's no restrictions on what the board could decide to do with it. I mean, you could offer it back up for sale at some future date if you needed to. It could become a park. It could be come for a land swap for some other area for a park or some other use that we may need for easements for water, sewer. I mean, there's a lot of options here, but the property for our assessing department had it valued at the amount that you saw in here. Fair market value of $1,293,800. The parcel owners had a appraisal done, which came in at about $1.7 million. They agreed to the donation at our assessed value at the $1.2 million. So the request is that we would provide the form that they would be able to credit the $1.2 million as a gift to the township. Again, no restrictions on how we would use it. We would agree to pay the closing fees, the title. He had paid, and then we'll prorate the taxes up to the time of possession of the property, which probably would be, by the beginning of September. I would imagine we could execute everything. What's the drawbacks for the township? Well, we're taking some property off the tax rolls, but we're also picking up $1.2 million worth of property for the cost of about $12,000 plus whatever the prorated taxes amount to for the year. Yes, it will be coming off the tax rolls then, but it's a good piece of property. We did have an environmental assessment done to make sure we're not picking up anything that would have any contamination or pollution that we would need to address. So we had the paperwork reviewed. First, the donor's attorney had prepared it. We sent it over to Anthony Chubb, an attorney with his law firm who specializes in real estate, and had him review it. The two attorneys back and forth came through, and what you have in your packet is the final document that all parties agree represents our interests equally well. So I guess it's up to the board to determine whether you feel there's a value to pick up the property for about $12,000 in costs and fees, plus whatever the proration on the taxes will be to own that particular parcel.
Well, I think, the thought is we are going to have, some sewer projects down there eventually in that area with surface water. And even if it isn't that particular property that we use for it, like you mentioned, we could use it for land swap, what have you. So I think it's very much, it's very timely and could be extremely helpful to the township to have that parcel. And besides that, it's great property for something commercially eventually.
You don't have to make any decisions even now. I mean, as you start to go through master planning process down the road, or you're working with Parks and Recreation, one of our goals in our strategic plan was to follow those national parks recommendations where we can have a neighborhood park within 10 minutes walk of any place. As we continue to expand our non-motorized pathway, there's just a lot of options that we can, that may end up fitting very, very well with some of those plans as well.
Right. Even as a pathway, we don't have to purchase the easement. Mr. Yancho?
What is the topography there? Is it all high and dry?
For the most part, it is. I don't know. I didn't look to see if there was any federally regulated wetlands on there, quite frankly, but it is buildable. Like I said, it's been advertised for office space for quite some time. It is a buildable lot, but I think if it was to turn into a park, it could be a kind of a nice, amazing little piece. Like I said, it would certainly service all the people from, would be accessible to all the people from Warwick Hills as well as Village Green subdivisions.
That parcel is not very attractive in its current state, and it seems to be, it collects a lot of garbage. do we intend to leave it in its current state, or would we be clearing it at some time in the future?
That's totally up to you guys on where we want to go. I think, creating a plan for it, for what you want to do and make it more attractive. It's pretty simple if you just wanted to brush it back to see what you had, or, to take a look at it. Pretty simple process, so we could have somebody take a look at it, give us some bids on what it would take to clear up some of that. But you're right, it's overgrown and has been, and the only part that was really trimmed back was the part that was advertising the billboard for sale.
The residents in Warwick may like having it overgrown because it does kind of create a buffer between them and Saginaw Street. So something to consider as well. Mr. Fike?
What is it zoned?
Office space?
And is there any maintenance required there?
No.
Should we contact the Warwick Neighborhood Association and say, hey,
After we own it.
yeah, what do you think, Damon? Could you see a park there or some kind of a, I don't know, public space? You think that would be used or not?
I think it's feasible that it could be some sort of a park, because some of the land, literally backs up to my backyard. Quite literally. Basically, anyone who's on Oakmont, which is you turn off to Saginaw, you go to Deepdale. Oakmont is probably 4.5 acres of that land. So I think there could be pushback if you cut down all the trees, because obviously we like, not hearing the noise from Saginaw Road. But at the same time, it's kind of been this looming threat of, is it going to sell? What will it be? Are we going to have subdivisions? Are we going to have? Because I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, zoned for medical right now, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it's important for us to figure out what we would envision it being as a township, and I think that having that kind of control over it would be better for Warwick Hills overall. Because right now, as it stands, it could have been anything. So we get to kind of take control. So I like that aspect of it, certainly.
Are there a lot of little kids over there?
There are, I will say we play hide and seek. A lot of neighborhood kids play back there. So when I think about it, there are these really large cylinders, concrete cylinders. They're probably maybe 4.5 feet tall-ish. And there's probably 5 or 6 of them back there. No idea what they're for, why they're there, whatnot. So
Probably had a sewer project that they were left over from years ago.
yeah, exactly. And there are definitely a lot of trees that are down and whatnot over time.
Yeah.
But so I think that could have been the reason people hesitated to purchase it, is because it's basically lots of fallen trees.
Mr. Yancho?
Well, depending on what happens to the millage tomorrow, that site has everything that's needed for a splash pad. It has the sewer and the water that would accommodate a splash pad, which is one of the things our residents are screaming for.
Well, my wife is watching this. She likes it.
You'd love that.
But I think it'd be good. We work with the citizens of Warwick and go from there. But I like the idea of us owning it versus it being sold.
So what's your thoughts? I'll make the motion that we move forward on accepting the property.
Okay.
Second.
Supported by Mr. Brown.
Motion by Bennett, supported by Brown on item 7B. Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
7-0. Motion passes.
Thanks.
And a public thank you to Mr. McGurk.
Absolutely.
His
Yeah.
generosity. That's pretty cool.
We actually have a few others that are being looked at as far as donating some property to us for some specific things, so. So next on the agenda, future agenda items. One of the things, we have our committees that are going to be meeting and reporting, so we'll see if we can get those up and running. But 2 weeks, pretty quick turnaround time for that, but we may have a few things to report on. Mr. Lemata, any thoughts on the topic that we want to cover at our next meeting?
Yeah, there's gonna, not necessarily at the next meeting, but the one after that. Again, your 2026 fiscal year annual budget process is in full swing. I've got next week basically blocked out every minute of every day to meet with department heads and start to square up your budget and to submit a balanced budget to the board by September 1st. So that will start to take up some of your future agenda items, but we don't want to lose our momentum on the strategic plan, so we'll continue to report some efforts on the movement that's happened since we've adopted this strategic plan about 6 weeks ago.
Okay, very good. Moving on to board reports, Ms. Hugo, anything with regard to Planning Commission?
Nope, nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. White, anything ZBA?
No.
Mr. Fike? Mr. Yancho, do you want to report on your meeting that you've had?
Yes, we had quite a meeting today with
You
many.
might pull your microphone down. I don't know. Hear you very well, but
Joel and I and Misty from our Grand Blanc Senior Center, we met with many of the other senior center directors, as well as a few people from other senior providers of different things, including the officer from the Sheriff's Department that deals with elder abuse. We went over many of the costs that are associated with those providers, and it turns out that the 60% of the budget of the senior millage goes to those different providers, like Meals on Wheels and things of that nature.
grass mowing,
Yeah,
legal
deck
assistance.
building, and only 30% goes to the various senior centers around the county. And of course, we contribute by far the largest amount. We contribute, our residents through their taxes contribute over $2 million towards the $10 million roughly revenue stream of the senior millage. So we donate the lion's share, our residents do. And I don't feel like our residents get a fair shake from the investment that we make. So those are some of the things that I think Joel and I will be working on to.
Right now, we get back less than 10% of the money we give, I believe.
Oh yeah, less than 10%. So it's kind of, I agree that they pointed out that, we've got the home values and we've got this and that, but, we should still get a brunt of the services as well. Not that we probably would refuse to support some of the other communities that are not as well off as we are, but it's not fair the way it's structured right now.
One of the things they said today, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, was that one of the things you can do is complain to your county commissioner, and they can change it. They can change things. So
Right.
political pressure can change this situation. I don't know whether they can, we're clearly, the way the structure is at 10% or whatever it is, way out of line. We're giving it $2 million. We're propping up the whole darn system. Grand Blanc Township, and that's not fair. And I know I'm preaching to the choir to you guys, but we're trying to say, look, we need to change this.
Right.
So we'll see.
I think, the thing that we've talked about is just bringing transparency to it in terms of where the money goes, and then also transparency in terms of how are decisions made on which programs get funded and who gets to participate. So I think also letting the municipalities that are paying this, or the residents, have some say in how the money is spent too. So I'm not sure anybody's ever asked their opinion on how this money is spent. So
That was
I
one-
appreciate you going.
That was one of the things we emphasized, was transparency and representation.
Good.
So,
Excellent. Now, this is the kind of thing that we're going to be able to make progress on by having more voices and more eyes on these things. So thanks for going to the meeting, guys. Okay, with that, Clerk Robertson, anything to report on the election coming up?
The election is tomorrow. I encourage everyone who hasn't already voted absentee to vote tomorrow on the ballot question that is before them. Everything is going along swimmingly, and that's as much as I have to say.
Okay. Just report on that the 911 consortium has completed its move into its new building. One of the things that has come up is that we're going to be occupying one floor of the 4 floors at the former HAP building. It's still referred to as HAP building at the corner of Linden Road and Corona Road. Thank you, Mike. And one of the things that we wrote into the contract was first right of refusal on the sale of the building that 911 is going to be in. Well, lo and behold, as soon as the 911 is in the process of moving in and spending $6 million on renovation of the floor, they had an offer come in to purchase the building from a medical group, and so the 911 consortium is going to be having a general membership meeting this next week to make a decision on whether or not they should purchase the building as opposed to leasing the space. There's a lot of consideration that goes into that. You know, the building, I'm not sure how old it is. I'm sure it's probably at least 25 years old, I would guess. And, you know, when you have a large building like that, they don't last forever. And if you're going to be buying the thing over 20 years, windows are going to be replacing, all these major things. So it'll be a decision that the 911 members of the consortium will have to decide on. I made some suggestions in terms of having an engineer come out and look at, what the future costs are to operate that building, what the vacancy rates look like in that area in terms of other, because if you're the owner, you're becoming a landlord, and there's 3 other floors that need to be leased. What that vacancy looks like, what the rents look like in the area. And Flint Township, right now is losing a lot of big box stores. Hopefully they can keep their rental, the office rentals high, but we'll see. With that, Mr. Limita?
The only thing I would echo is that it is an important election. That's tomorrow for the township residents. Make sure you have your voice heard, whether that's to vote yes or no. It's an important millage question for your Parks and Recreation operations. Just as a reminder, that millage was first brought to you in 2016 after many, many years of kind of a little bit of neglect. That just money wasn't there after the recession hit of 2008, and deferred maintenance really created an impact. If you look at that park now, you've got 200 acres just at the Bicentennial Park. That is just a gem in the community, used and loved by many people. The ball fields have been completely upgraded. In a lot of areas, there's still some work to do. There has been, the basketball courts, when you just look out there, the pavilions, re-roofing those, it takes a lot of money to keep that park going. The splash pad did have to be dismantled, but they're designed with a life of about 12 years. That one ran for over 20. They kept it going for as long as they could. But the biggest thing is just for people, there's, a lot of negative nonsense out in social media, like always. I would just say, consider the source. Remember that most of that comes from somebody with a political agenda. And I will say that this board, on the other hand, they truly do listen to their residents. They commissioned a community survey to be done last year that came back in with a 95% confidence interval, scientific results that say, what do you want us to do with our parks? First and foremost, 86% of respondents really either satisfied or very satisfied with the service level of Grand Blanc Township as a whole. 86% compared to 39% in the United States, 38% in our region, more than double. You guys are doing an amazing job as a board, And when I say transparency, the reason I say that is because when we asked the specific Parks and Recreation questions about what people wanted to see and what that price tag was, the question was, would you support a Parks and Recreation millage increase to 1 mil to address those deferred maintenance needs and infrastructure improvements for the park system? 57% of respondents said yes. 57%. The majority asked, yes, we would like to be considered 1 mil to get the improvements that we want to see out at the park. And what this board has done is you put it on a ballot to give the voice to the people to decide whether they want to move it forward or not. So when you hear any other claims out there, again, all this stuff is easily verifiable. This is available online. You can look it up yourself. This board has done nothing but be responsive to what the residents asked them to do, and I couldn't be prouder to be affiliated with the group of individuals who are sitting up here. Thank you for listening to your residents. Thank you for giving them the opportunity to vote on this. We'll let the electorate decide, and after tomorrow we'll know whether there was enough support for it or not. But just like I said, I get a little bit incensed. Again, vote yes, vote no. Just please get out and vote. Let your voice be heard.
Well, you know what's interesting, Mr. Limita, is that there's many communities that are looking at special millages just for some type of sports facility. I know Frankenmuth has looked at it. You look at some of the sports facilities that communities are bringing in. South of Brighton, the Legacy Center thing is just amazing, huge indoor and outdoor sports complex. Genesee County has even said that they're looking for a spot to put some type of large sports complex. The idea is that, you know, sports and fields, what have you, bring money to your area. It brings economic development. You look at the traffic that goes in and out of Legacy down off 23. I mean, there's some of these sports places where they've had to build expressway exits specifically for those sports complexes. So I think when we're talking about our parks, I think Grand Blanc Township's Bicentennial Park, clearly, when you look throughout the county, our park, I would gather, is probably one of the busiest and has the most sporting activities going on in the county. And so that's why I think it's so valuable, that is not only for playground type thing, but for the future of our township. People look for those types of things. I know Mr. Brown mentioned it, you know, when he was looking at where he wanted to live, is what did the parks look like? And I think there's a lot of people that look for that. You know, one of the things, we have a very strong, you know, athletic, program out there. In fact, you know, we would like to congratulate the girls, the young ladies that made it all the way to the World Series for the senior division of the softball World Series, and we couldn't be more proud. You know, Sonia Limita, who works on our staff here in Parks and Rec and athletic director, was part of that team coaching. And I want to ask our board if we could invite that team and their coaches to our meeting coming up here in the future to congratulate them. And I know
You might want to tell people they won, Scott.
well, I did. I think most people know that by now. But I think we want to look for a way to honor them out at our park as well, whether it's a banner or a plaque, what have you. But that's the kind of thing that, you know, our park produces. And when you were watching, I don't know if anybody watched those games, but, you know, and Mr. Lehman and I talked about this, that, you know, they were talking about Grand Blanc, you know, that this team is from Grand Blanc. And, you know, that's how much is that worth? I'm sure people had their phones out saying, where is Grand Blanc, you know, and looking at other parts of the world, not just the U.S. I mean, those teams came from all over the world. But, yes, they won the championship. This is their second year going to that tournament, right, Mr. Limita? I mean, they beat last year's champion, Hawaii, I believe it was. What's your thoughts, Mr. Limita?
I think the best part of that, again, the Grand Blanc Little League senior softball girls went out there. These are age 13 to 16 primarily. A few of them are going on to play college ball after this year, but incredibly strong showing. Coach Orr defeated his father, who has won the World Series the last 2 years in a row from Illinois, to get the chance to represent the Central District as for the state of Michigan out in Delaware. They outscored their opponent 70-5. They mercied every single team they played except for one. It was an incredible showing. I was at the airport this morning picking up our director of athletics and programming and watching a very large group of very exhausted coaches and girls coming out of Detroit Metro this morning because I think they were celebrating their victory into the evening last night. But it did put a huge, shine a big spotlight on Grand Blanc and our park, and that's the home of the girls, and we will have a plaque out there that recognizes the fact that they are the 2025 senior Little League champions for softball.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That is phenomenal.
Not only did they win, but many of the games they won double digits to 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, shutouts. Yeah. No, it's phenomenal. So that's what a great Parks and Rec program can do, right?
Exactly.
So, okay, with that, anything else, Mr. Lemata?
Nope, that's all I got.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Support by Ms. Hugo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We are adjourned at 6:36 p.m.